California Highway Patrol, prosecution witness. Bob Altshuler, you've made a living defending police officers over your career as a defense attorney. It looks like this particular defense attorney is trying to chop up a little bit of a section there for his client. What's he trying to do to this police officer?
Well, when she's trying to hurt him and he has an opportunity to impeach her with statements that she's made in the past that are inconsistent with her trial testimony, he's reining her back in and he's hurting her credibility. I mean, the pregnant pause when he catches her with a report that says that Rodney King was throwing punches, she's looking at it saying, yes, I did write that, that's just not what I meant. That's pretty devastating for a witness. But what they are doing, what the defense team is doing is systematically and methodically getting good information from the witness and trying to impeach her when she's trying to hurt them. They're doing a very good job.
But in the end, you've got Brian Allen, who was the passenger. You've got this officer who was an eyewitness. In the end, you still got that videotape. The videotape shows all the blows that they're talking about, all the movements that they're talking about. How does the defense surmount the video?
Well, the videotape was used wrong tactically. I think that that's what this trial shows us, because the prosecutors relied on it very heavily, and Mr. White said that that was the essence of his case. But there's so much more about this case, and this case wasn't really decided based on the videotape. Going back to Melanie Singer's testimony, before we even hear about the beating, what do we know? We know that there was a car going 100 miles an hour on the freeway, wouldn't stop, police engaged, chasing, chasing, chasing. They finally stop him. The red lights are flashing. There's a spotlight on him. What does he do? He doesn't do what he's supposed to do. He continues to give him a hard time. She goes...
But that's... No, wait a minute. That's an irrational mind that would say, okay, we're angry at him because he did that, and you could function to that level. But after blow number 6 or 10, at what point do we stop striking him for the fact that he committed those transgressions earlier?
Okay, let's talk about the cross-examination, not this last one, but the one that we saw previously. Okay, there was the defense attorney talking to Officer Singer concerning LAPD protocol for when you can approach a suspect. And that's very important. And in fact, the jury could decide what they feel about the videotape based on that testimony without going any further. And I'll tell you why. Because what you see on that videotape is you see that Rodney King is on all fours. He gets down, but he keeps getting up on all fours. And by this witness, by the prosecution witness's own statements, the other officers are not supposed to even approach him until he is completely prone, laying down with his head down. They can't get him prone.
They are approaching him, and they're swinging over and over and over again. And what I hear you saying, if I'm not incorrect, is that this case is really about, for the defense perspective, policy and procedure, while for the prosecution, they relied simply on what you saw and not defining what the jury saw.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'll take it to the next step. The defense case is about emotion. The prosecution case is about evidence without emotion, and that's a problem because jurors decide cases. You know this. You're an experienced defense attorney. Jurors decide cases based on emotion, and what you want to do as a defense attorney is give them ammunition when they go back into the jury room to discuss things with other people. And what you want is if you have one juror going in there and saying, listen, this guy wasn't prone after 60 baton blows, what are they supposed to do? Wait for 6 hours until he gets so tired that he falls on the ground? If you get somebody thinking like that, you're going a long way towards winning your case.
Interesting. Okay, we're going to have to take a break, but when we come back from break, we're going to turn to the testimony of one of the defendants, Defendant Stacey Koon.